Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, my name is Ahad Raza, and today I'm going to talk to you about some basic tactics. Now, if you haven't checked out Joel Makin's awesome playlist on tactics for winning squash matches, please go ahead and check it out now. There's a ton of valuable information in there. Today, I'm going to take you through one of some of the most fundamental squash strategy. If you haven't heard of the egg model, the idea is essentially you want to control the middle of the court. Imagine an egg kind of around the back of the service box and through this middle area of the court, essentially surrounding the tee. You want to be controlling this, and you want to be hitting into all corners and extremities of the court to make your opponent move everywhere else. Simple, right? A little bit more challenging to execute than it is to say, but that is the idea. Let's take a minute and show you one of the most fundamental ways of executing this and talk about some of the nuances that you may or may not be familiar with, but hopefully you can consciously apply after watching this video. Let's role play for a minute. This is one of the most common scenarios and one of the most fundamental strategies that people leverage. And it is, you come, you hit a quality drive into the back corner, you get that ball sitting down, and your opponent is pinned and under pressure. Well, what do we do after we hit a shot? We were always told to come to the tee. Quick little aside, if you haven't checked out previous videos on the floating tee concept, we're going to link to them here, check them out. But you don't actually have to come to the physical tee. You want to take a strategic position around the tee called the floating tee, depending on your opponent's skills, their abilities, their shot-making capabilities, their tendencies and patterns of play, as well as their most likely shot from that position given the amount of pressure that your shot has created. So what I mean by that is, if I hit a drive and the ball flies off the back wall and your opponent is hitting from this position, well, I need to take a very, very central tee position. I need to be able to cover the back. I need to be able to cover the front, the left, and both front and back left, front and back right. Because assuming I'm playing a strong opponent, they can do anything from that position. They could drop, they could drive, they could kill, they could cross kill, they could lob, etc. If, however, I hit a high quality drive and this ball is sitting down in the back corner and it's tight to the side wall, well, in that case, my opponent has limited options. Depending on who I'm playing, they might only have a straight reset. They might have only a weak fluff up into the front of the court. It's unlikely that they're going to be able to cover or hit a shot to the left side of the court. So once I play that tight drive, it doesn't quite make sense for me to come and be neutral on the tee over here. It actually makes more sense for me to cheat over a little bit. And you see a lot of the top professionals doing this. So once I've hit that quality drive, I'm going to cheat over. If I think that my opponent is going to basically just kind of tap that ball into the front, I might cheat over and take an extra high tee position. If I feel that they're just going to try to lift straight, I might still step high, but I'm going to start anticipating over to that right side. If there's a bit of space off the sidewall and I'm playing someone who doesn't really have the confidence to go straight, but they typically boast, which is what happens at slightly lower levels, then I'm going to come even further up on the tee and poach over a bit towards that boast, but I'm not going to make the common mistake of overcommitting. So a lot of people, when their opponent is stuck back there, before they even hit the ball, they're running forward for the boast. And then if the opponent manages to go straight, you're stranded and you're stuck and you can't recover. So you want to choose your floating tee position very strategically based on the quality of your shot and the options that your opponent has from that position. And then you're going to be in a quality position to actually anticipate and get on the next shot early. Now, one final, this is like a super tip that I'm going to give you. It's a little bit more advanced, but the idea is that the egg model is extremely applicable no matter who you're playing, what level you're playing. But depending on the level that you're reaching, especially as you get to higher levels, there is a little caveat to it. Now, if I'm playing an opponent that has hit something weak out of the back right corner and they've sent a loose boast into the front left, if I'm playing an opponent that's very, very fast to the tee, chances are that when I come up to cover this shot, I'm likely not going to just play that drop shot, obvious drop shot, because I know that my opponent is flying to the tee and their momentum is already coming forward. So what I might do, and I'm definitely not going to play that drop shot by taking my time coming onto the ball with a big swing and then trying to play the perfect drop, because I've given them all this time to get to the tee. What I will do in that situation is recognize that my opponent is a fast mover off the ball and their momentum is strong moving forward. And then the better shot is actually to, if you can hold, but even if you don't hold, just get on the ball early and hit it back into that corner, because their momentum is coming this way and the ball is going the other way. That requires a hard decelerative movement and then a really strong movement to go back. That also really sinks into your legs. On the flip side, if you're playing an opponent that is slower or likes to hang out in the back of the court after hitting, well, then you definitely just want to get on this ball early and put that obvious drop shot in, because they have a tendency to be back there, either because they're slower, they like to just camp out in the back, and then you've got the obvious winner. So the egg model and hitting into space is extremely effective if your opponent is the type of player that likes to hang back and doesn't move as quickly, whereas hitting into the same corner that the person just hit from is actually very effective if you're playing someone who's very fast with their movement and who gets off their shot quickly and who likes to push up to the tee aggressively. All right, folks, I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, give it the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and be sure to leave a comment. And if you think that you know someone who is going to enjoy this and gain value from it, please share it with them. All right, folks, take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.